Hello, welcome again. This is Chris Mater from CMI Studios, today talking about the new SpeedSix initiative. What I did earlier is I created a clip with a background pixel effect and a matte clip of our logo, added it to an action, and created it as a matte and a foreground. Then I added a rendered out SpeedSix Aurora plugin so that I could get it to, this is the Aurora 2 now, this so I can get that to concatenate with my logo, as you will see here. I basically just added the two layers together and put the Aurora 2 on the foreground so that you can actually see it go over and use the luminance of it as my breakout clip. I'll scrub through to show you that I animated the opacity of the Aurora over time. Don't worry that the logo is black in certain areas because it won't show up since it's going to use luminosity as the matte clip. As I go on from the action clip with no background, mind you, I go ahead and created the edges from the batch schematic inside of Flame. I use the edge and the blur to get the desired effect, and when I zoom in, you'll see that they both concatenate quite well and use a great effect for the luminance. You can see that the particles were actually created with the Pix Fly effect from SpeedSix earlier on. I'll show you how to do that in a later tutorial. You can then add some histograms for some color correction to bump up the values of the white so that you have pure whites and pure blacks for the matte clip. I also use the color warper, and using the hue inside of the scope, I changed it to a little bit of blue. You can do this in different ways, but I chose to use the color warper for this type of effect. Later on, we'll use more to add them together. The next thing I'm going to do is create a new action node with a layer, and drive it into the action and use the luminance of the previous clip inside of an auto matte for the matte. As you can see, when I go into the action schematic, I have an image here. The matte, as you can see, says Auto 3. That's basically the auto matte that I created earlier. You can use a matte source if you wanted to, but in this case I just decided not to. Check your matte settings to make sure that the luminance is proper. As you can see, when we don't add a background to the action script, we have a nice transparent effect so that we can use it later on top of another layer, inside of maybe another action, or add it to a background using a different type of node. Next, I chose to use an edge glow to pull out some of the brightness values so we can create that nice plasma type effect. As you can see right here, the pixels are starting to break apart and the glows are coming off quite nicely. Go in and check your settings, make sure that your brightness is around 66 and leave the rest as quite default. I changed the type to glow source. If you don't have glow source selected in your color type, please select it because it will give you the best results. I then added it to the final layer of the action, and we put an Aurora background clip as well as the Spark plugin so that we can actually create many frames over a rendered period of time. In this case, you see that I'm using the Demo Lights 4 by default. As you see, it goes into the action, and then I'm going to add a beams command to it later. Now the beams command is going to give it that brightness value so that you can see that it starts to tear out quite nicely in order to get that brightness effect. As you can see right here, after adding the color warper to the background Aurora, it changed it to dark blue. So now our values are basically monochromatic. After adding the beams command, you'll see that we're going to render it out. If you have any more information, or you would like to learn more about SpeedSix or other plugins, please contact me directly at chris@cmistudios.com. If you want to get a better look of what this effect looks like, take a look at the end of this video. Thanks again.